know you got heart. Now we're playing the game, we're totally scoring, learning how to make a virtual of business boring, showing up every morning.
I have not seen your ad. This is nice.
All right, welcome everybody. Hey, I'm John Chen, author of Engaging Virtual Meetings, and you're in the Happy Hour Road Trip Edition, and I've got some road trippers with me. Let's bring in the Peanut Gallery. What's up, people? All right, let's do the speed round. Let's talk about what do you love about road trips, or like a super fast memory from a road trip. Let's start with David logged in first. David, what's your road trip story?
Just the best thing about road trips are the unexpected things that you encounter via the vehicle breaking down and the people you meet and whatever small town it happens in. It's just a blast seeing, either A, people help you or people are afraid of you, one of the two.
Or both.
Uh-huh.
Or both.
Could be a little of both.
Actually, that reminds me of the time we blew the Land Cruiser tire in the middle of like Eastern Washington in a town that had a population of 50. So, all right, let's see. Nicole, how about a story from you?
A road trip I took with my parents to Rodney, Mississippi. Was a time I won't forget. It's a little town that's been taken over by the Mississippi River, and it's just look it up. It's got some historical buildings, and I took a bunch of pictures. So took my camera, and got some really awesome photos. So
awesome, thank you, Nicole. This is the first trip I've actually taken a quote-unquote real camera. I took a Canon Rebel SL3, and I'm actually going to show you some photos from that. Things that an iPhone can't do, right? Coach Delisa, what does road trips mean to you?
Well, my husband and I like to do weekend road trips, especially long weekends. And we like to go to small little towns and be the one who actually, stops at the historical marker 1 mile and that kind of thing. So when we get around to telling stories, I'll tell you the one that we had a couple weeks ago.
Fantastic. Speaking of which, part of the things is like falling into the tourist traps and like being cool with it. And so Donna and I actually drove through a tree, and we'll tell you all about that.
Wow.
Donna, what's give a preview to like maybe a moment that's coming up through our road trip?
It was just kind of, we didn't plan. That was just kind of it. And like John said, of like finding the tourist traps of like, oh, let's go do this because we've seen 100 signs for it. We just never knew what we were going to be doing from one day to another, or where the next meal was coming.
That's the fun.
And actually, some of our best meals definitely came from places that we had no idea where they came from. We're going to share that with you. Jen, speaking of road trips, we tried to make it down all the way to California. You're calling in from the island?
Yeah, on the island, yeah. So my internet is horrible. It's being powered by a gerbil in the sea. But yeah, we have our 50th anniversary this weekend, so we have a bunch of events going on over here. Yeah, a lot of people road tripping and visiting here while I'm here today.
Yeah, I bet business has changed a little bit. What's a road trip story you got?
About 5 years ago, I think. So it was an anniversary of an ultimate road trip of 100 years prior, trying to retrace some of the steps of a road trip that my great grandfather made from Loma, Michigan to California, and the fates of road tripping in what was once the Lincoln Highway didn't happen in my favor, but I got to at least go through Michigan and retrace some old family footsteps there and get some cheese curds along the way while driving through the UP.
Love cheese curds.
And got to stand at my great grandmother's kitchen sink because people in Michigan let you into your homes when you're a complete stranger.
Wow, we got cheese curds at Tillamook, by the way, and those are tasty snacks.
Ooh, that might be a snack we need to pull out. Or did you eat them all?
I have not eaten them all. I did put some in some mac and cheese, and let me tell you, cheese curds like are stringier than regular cheese, so it like made it extra creamy and sticky, and so they are different. Speaking of which, Joe Welch is here. We're talking about road trips. Tell us something, a memory from a road trip, or what do road trips mean to you?
Absolutely. Well, hello and welcome back to the public world. You guys have been off the grid. My name is Joe Welch, and I've actually played sub KJ for the karaoke. It was I have to admit, it was absolutely a dream of mine. I'd always wanted to be a karaoke host, and John helped me make that dream come true. And I got to tell you that the karaoke crowd is ridiculous. They're off the chain. They're so, so good, so talented. And, some people, you guys already know about this. I could go on forever. But in terms of road trips, when I turned 40, my best friend and I went to Spain, and we went around the outside of Spain. And so we flew in, and then we're making our way to the northern west side near Portugal, and the plane was going through really bad weather, and so here we were. We had just flown into Barcelona. We were trying to get to Asturias, and the only thing, everyone was throwing up us around us. I know this is not the best trip. I mean, there's so many stories, but this is how we started. We were like, you can hear them, they got the bags, and we're like just praying. We're just like, my prayer was, let this pilot like not be a cowboy. Like, let this pilot just say, we're just gonna get somewhere safe. And they did. They brought us then halfway back, and so we were in San Sebastian or somewhere in that area, and then we had to go back again on a bus through like pitch dark 3 hours. Like, we were in transit forever. It was the wildest beginning to the trip, but it was, my best friend's a chef, I'm a photographer. We just ate our faces off. We were there for the World Cup in 2010. They won. It was bananas. I could go on and on, but yes, road tripping, we went all over the place and ate our faces off. It was the best.
Thank you, Joe. You remind me of the story that I read. It actually turned into a book. These guys bet in a bar once to take a fridge all the way around the edges of Ireland on a hand truck, and he actually did it, and like it turned into a internet phenomenon. People came around in the cities and walked for him in different cities, and people signed his fridge with Sharpie, and by the time he was done, he had like 20, 30, 40,000 signatures on this thing, and it all came from a bar bet. All right, speaking of road trip, so Donna and I, it started with my son had a wedding 2 years ago in the pandemic, and that means nobody was there. Like, it was a total of 6 people. That means none of us parents were there. So he started and said, we're going to do a vow renewal, and now we actually think it's the right time. We're going to have an event. So they held a larger event. We went to Portland, and then after that, Donna and I were just saying, both of us spend most of our time planning for all of our clients. We're kind of sick of it, especially after the last 2 years. For me, I'm planning like a minute for stuff clients are going to do. And so we decided to go 14 days with no plan, no agenda. And just the goal was to drive up and down the coast. Donna had a few goals. She wanted to see I think the redwoods and the ocean as this trip. So let me give you some insights for this and show you a few things. We'll come back and get some stories in between. But here, this is the first leg of the trip, just to kind of give you an idea. Oh my goodness, I do know this person. Okay, good. Christopher Johnson is going to come join us here. All right, so then we drove here to Oregon. We did a bunch of stuff, and then we started coming down the coast. So what does that look like? Well, I actually have a dash cam, so let me just give you like 3 minutes. I actually should have ran this piece here while we're talking about this, but during the first couple days, I don't know if I clearly communicated this to Donna, but I had planner anxiety, which is like, I'd wake up every day going, what are we going to do? And then like the answer was nothing. And I like have like an anxiety attack for a while and going, wait a minute, that's the plan, right? The plan is really to do nothing. And it took me like 3 days to unwind that and like be okay with that. So
I like the ghost of the dead bug leading
I
you.
know, I know the segment that I got, of course, a bug like went straight in the center of the
Oh,
camera.
and it's right on the flagman. That was perfect.
So part of this was like learning how to work remote. So both Don and I had to do a couple days of work, and this is my setup and my sister's backyard table, so I could be outside. And I actually ran and produced a whole webinar back here with this setup. So then we came to Portland, and there was a rehearsal dinner. So this is my son here with his dog Bowie. This is my youngest son, Kelson, who was one of the best men. This is my daughter, KJ, who was also one of the best men. And this is my son's, one of his very good friends who became an internet ordained minister to preside over this. Yeah, here's a picture of his dog. My son now can, the son on the right, Kelson, can deadlift 400 pounds. So he's a little ripped on that. And so Donna and I are here at the rehearsals. The next day was, of course, the actual wedding. I think we got 4 points for color coordination, right, Donna? She's laughing. She spent a lot of time on this wardrobe. Okay, so then this is my son Kelson actually dressed up. This is probably one of the very few times I will ever see him in a suit and tie. And I think the cool kids with things right now is to never put the tie loose. Kind of like, when kids like don't tuck their shirts in. I think that's part. And this is my daughter KJ, who looked extraordinary and amazing in her dress. This is my dad, known as Thomas Doc Chen, and his wife Virginia, and they actually flew in. So my dad and all my brothers and sisters actually flew or drove to this event. It was a great and a big deal. Here's a shot here with me and my son, and his bride name is Colleen, and she used to work in a bookstore, and now she has her own business doing copywriting and editing. So she's the editor, and of course they got to do this final dance. By the way, they took some lessons for this dance. This was like one of those seriously curated dances with that. Moving on to the adventures, while we waited to the Saturday was a larger event where my other people came. Hi, Christopher. How you doing? We started to do some adventures. So how many of you ever been hot air ballooning?
Nope.
No. Christopher, no? Delisa, no. Wow.
No way, never will.
I mean, and I've done some dumb stuff, but that actually it scares me.
Donna, what did you do before we actually took this flight?
I had to make my will.
So here we go.
Joe, I did it. I got it done. I had it signed the day before.
Joe, of course, is the Will Fairy, who says, please get your will done, especially you people who are getting older. Hint, hint. And if you need help, you can talk to her. Okay, here we go. This is, if you've never seen what it's like to get one of these balloons up and rolling, here's what it looks like.
John, why did the arrow keep dancing?
So, yeah, they blow fans inside of them. And then these propane torches, by the way, are hot. So as we went along on this trip, this is my sister Anne, who helped arrange the trip. And this was for Thomas's birthday. It was a surprise, I think, until it wasn't a surprise, but it was a surprise. Oh, great. Our neighbor Sarah is watching now. Hi, Sarah. Okay. And now this is what hot air ballooning looks like. And again, I got this higher end camera. Nicole, I would love some commentary about this photo. How'd I do?
Straighten her horizon a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Straighten horizon. Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
was the balloon right on the water like that? Were you about to splash down?
Yes.
By the way, I don't think I have the photo. I didn't put it in, but that balloon, they do take the balloons. In this case, the path came down and almost all the balloons were able to touch down on this river, float along the river. I think some of the water got in our basket before they took off again.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I might lighten it so you could see the reflection of the balloon in the water because I didn't see it
Right here on the
at
bottom.
first. Yeah, I didn't see it at first.
Unburn that or burn that. Jen Pointer says hard pass.
Yeah. No, that's a really cool photo. But yeah, straighten the horizon a little bit.
Thank you, Vince, for that.
Yeah.
Christopher, when
Pretty
we
though.
thank
pretty
you for
cool.
joining us. When we say road trips, do you have a memory or like what do you think about when we say the word road trips?
I think about a trip in California, Marin County, Mount Tamalpais.
Oh yeah, that's a great yeah. What happened?
So we were going to the Mountain Home Inn, and the road there is, well, is one lane each direction. I'm from Metro Detroit. I'm used to hotel signs that are noticeable. There was nothing noticeable about this, so we went past it. And again, the path is only, well, I say path. It's slightly more than that. It's a one lane in each direction. If you go past it, then you wind up at Stinson Beach. Okay. Here's the thing. The speed limit was like 20 miles an hour. I never saw that as cars started queuing up behind me, encouraging me to move faster. My wife, wonderful woman that she is, noticed there were little points where you could pull out and let people behind you pass. And she asked if I wanted to take advantage of one of those. And I gave her the look of, if I'm not comfortable on the road and you want me to park on this little fingernail sliver of a piece of lane where your side is a sheer drop off. I didn't need to finish the statement. She said, yeah, they can wait.
Well, I got to tell you, we were on those exact same roads, Christopher, and I got to tell you, those who did move over, well, we were very thankful for, because we were in, if you didn't, well, I'll show you the car in just a second, but we were definitely in a car that could pass most of the other cars. Okay, let's continue on some pictures. So that's Donna and I inside one of the balloons here from the bottom. All right.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Just say we had to be there at 5:30.
That's the tough part. Okay, this next shot is a video, and this is a video of a droney. So if you don't know what droney is, that is a selfie shot with a drone. In this case, I did it of the group. This happened like my son actually said, don't plan for this. We don't want to bug anybody. But we actually got all the people after they did this presentation of this amazing quilt. And this like really truly, what was it, Donna? It was like a handmade quilt that or was it handed down or something?
It was hand stitched, and she had been working on it for like 3 years from the time that they got engaged. So she was really kind of happy that they delayed the actual wedding for 2 years so she could
finish it
during the pandemic.
Okay, here we go. This is what a droney looks like. That was everyone there was a garden party on Saturday that was away from the wedding where they had even more people show up. It was at a house in Gresham, Oregon with their grandmother's house. That's that property. And they put a tent on site and put games and everything else out in there. So the funny or challenging part is that they have been planning and unplanning this wedding for the past 2 years. Well, probably 3, because they started a year beforehand, and then they added 2 more. Okay, let's see. Here's some shots. This is I thought was a really cool piece. They put a printer that could connect to any iPhone or any smartphone, and so if you shot something and you followed the instructions, you could make prints like this. And we kind of got the people started, and here are all the prints along from the event. I thought this is a really cool way to do a montage. And these are all the people who were at the events. Funny moments. And there is our montage. Okay, so then we finally started driving. And hold on, I got to check and see if my neighbor is here. Hold on a sec. Okay, so we went to this place, and my sister Ann told us about this place. It's called what? Thor's Well. This is like one of the only places, I guess, almost in the world that has this gigantic tube that when the waves come in, the water splashes through. So here's what it looks like. And that noise is all the waves running over my shoes. Uh, so that we got a chance to go to that, and then somebody told us to go to the dune buggies. Who told us to do that, Donna?
I think it was Chris H.
Chris H. Oh, the grooms.
No, no, Chris, your friend, that we talked to.
Oh,
Or maybe
Chris Hillard.
maybe not. Maybe it wasn't Chris Hillard because she told us about ban that one town. I can't remember.
What we did is somebody said we need to go. If you're going down the coast, we got to actually sand dune buggy in Florence, Oregon, and none of us had ever done it. So we actually needed to stay overnight in Florence because the tour we drove up to and they didn't have one until the next day. So we stayed here in Florence, and now we got this photo the next day. Unmute and tell me what's up with this photo. Anybody know?
Are they Mennonites?
I think
Anybody know what's going on here?
Is it Mennonites? I mean, that's what it looks like. Mennonites?
I believe it's Amish.
Amish? Yeah. No, Amish wouldn't be in them. If they're are they driving?
No, they're not
No,
driving.
they're riding.
They're not driving.
They're
riding.
Driving. They are riding. This young man is here helping all of them buckle in and getting them set up to go.
So,
okay, then
I posted this photo on Facebook and somebody said, was it Rumspringer? Is that the right word?
Well, yeah, because that Rumspringer, that's a German word, right? Rumspringer. Oh, well, yeah, it could be because that's like their rebellious period before they decide if they're going to be in church or not.
Right, but yes. How old was this particular group of people?
Yeah, because they look older than Rumspringer, because Rumspringer's like they're 16 or right before 16.
No, they were about that.
So, so we went here and it turns out that for those who didn't know, and I didn't know, I posted this on Facebook and somebody said Rumspringer. And so I believe the Amish girls at some point get to go and do anything for a period of 2 years. And then what they're supposed to do is they can do anything. And eventually within those 2 years, they're supposed to come back to the church. So apparently some of them said, we want to go sand dune bugging in Florence, Oregon. And Don and I actually listened to like a half-hour NPR piece about it and saying, it's really challenging. I mean, one, it's like, they don't know anything about the quote unquote regular world, and so they kind of go crazy, right? And
English,
some of the theory is let them go crazy, and then they'll come back, and when they really come back, then they really actually want to be part of it. Most of them find they're like unprepared for like the rest of the world, and there have been some crazy things. Like there have been some girls who did party to the point that they passed away. So they talk about that. It's a really challenging thing, but it's now part of their culture. So that was a whole learning thing I had no idea about. The dune buggy was a great experience. Anybody else got any other comments?
No, I mean there's several I guess sects of SECTS of Amish and Mennonites around Arkansas and Missouri. So I mean I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was 2 years though. And most of the time it's more boys that do it around here, I guess, but the girls don't do it as much. But I don't know if it's a Southern Belt thing.
There was a reality show.
Well,
yeah, I think the reality show was a bunch of junk, but
on people's Rumspringer.
Yeah, I mean, because that was like Vanilla Ice. I don't think that was like totally true. Anyway.
Well, cool. Like I said, that was like a phenomenon. I had known nothing about a culture, and then we went into this. And
there's a whole series of like inspirational books that has stories, like romance kind of stories about it, but it tells more of the culture if you're interested, like in reading stories, but they're more true.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So let's see. We started to cruise down the coast and we'd run into things like this.
Did you not send any video of the going on the tour?
Oh, no, it's on my other computer. I know I couldn't get it off my other computer in time.
John did GoPro the whole ride, so
I want a time lapse, some section of it. That I do have it. That's right. I did look for it, Donna, and I'm like, why is it not in my folder? And I'm like, oh, it's right. It's on another computer. I gotta go transfer it. All right. So I shot a drone shot here. Now, one of the parts as we were talked about is the food, right? The food on a road trip. So Donna can talk about this being probably the second best item that we ate on the trip.
So we had driven by the donut mill on the way to our hotel, and I'm like, we should have breakfast there. It looks like, a small local, it's not a chain. And we did, and we got this huge apple fritter. I got a raspberry fritter. I mean, we got 6 different donut items and 2 cups of mochas for $20.
Wow. Was it German? Was it a German apple fritter? Just a question.
I don't know the difference.
I think it was an Asian couple that was making them, though.
Really?
So it must be an Asian apple.
Yes, but that was like our breakfast for 2 days and snack. I mean, it was just...
it looks yummy.
We kept saying everything as big as your head. This apple fritter was seriously as big as your head.
And you can see the chunks of apple in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see the Porsche emblem.
That's right. I was eating it in my car, right? Too, David. That's like a no-no, and I did it anyways because
it's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Eating in the car?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love eating in the car. Go ahead if you'd like. Go to the chat and talk about chat some of your favorite either road snacks or road trip snacks, or things that you've eaten on the road. We'll continue on. So I had to produce one more program before the end of of working vacation, or the end of working during my vacation. So we were traveling down, and we were in Crescent City, a pretty big city with a hotel, and asked Donna, I'm like, do you want to just stay here? And she goes, no, I want to make some progress. Like, we were up early enough. Let's drive a couple hours. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock, and I got to stop at 11:30 and then figure out a place. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I mapped out. I knew there was like some form of a city where I could go get there. And I go there, and I go to this place. I drive in. It's a camp, like a campground. And I'm like, oh yeah, I hope it's one of these campgrounds with Wi-Fi. So I go into the store and go to the Wi-Fi, and I said, yeah, do you have Wi-Fi? And they go, yeah, we got it. I'm like, yes, all right. And she goes, yeah, you have to buy it by the gigabyte. And they had a special, which is you have to buy 5 gigabytes for the price of 4. So I did that, and now this is my setup, right? And I was producing this seminar. We actually got Zoom bombed during this this virtual meeting, this virtual community talk. We fought them all off to the point where the speakers never missed a syllable. They never missed a stride. And we got rid of all the Zoom bombers. We even had to disable the chat to the public. You could only chat us, the hosts, at the end to help moderate the comments because they were attempting to go through every other way. Yeah, and so I did that, and so this is like the background. People were playing cornhole and horseshoes while I was trying to run this program. Okay, so so this is like the miracles. Oh yeah, so anyway, so I finished the program. We battled all the Zoom bombers off. We're at the after program, so we're debriefing the program, talking about it, and I'm about to start a sentence, and I said like that. And my video freezes, and then I get disconnected. My 5 gigabytes is done.
Oh, wow.
It was that close. So now we get on to the vacation part. So now from here, I don't have to work, which is great. And so, yes, we're in a Porsche Boxster. That's why, Christopher, I need you to move over. Because I gotta go. I really want to go, right? I really want to be able to, yeah. And so this is a tree that we went under. Donna, actually, I'm sorry, Donna, I couldn't find your video of us going underneath it, but I do have this tree too.
Send it to you again.
You can also, if you get the one picture to share, which was probably the funnier video, this German family came there with this big car, tried to turn their mirrors inside, and tried to.
They didn't even try to do the mirrors.
They were way too big, and so they were unable to drive through the tree, and we took a bunch of very funny photos about it. So this famous thing I think I did when I was a child in the redwoods, and so it's fun to come back here. Here are some other spots that we found along the way.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
is that lightning behind you? Your car picture.
Oh no. So this is actually a really cool trick. If you have an iPhone or other phone, instead of doing a panorama left to right, turn it sideways and do a panorama from the bottom up. Okay? And so basically I'm showing my car and then this tree and then this is a cloud. But it's a little distorted because of the perspective of doing a panorama. So that's
Oh, it looks like lightning or something.
yeah, it does look like lightning.
Or
I
a
think it's
little-
just a contrail
or-
of a plane.
Huh. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. And this is kind of the fun part, right? You get all these photographic things that happen, whether it's a bug or trails. Yeah, so we stopped at this was one of our first points, I think, when we hit California's coast. And I took a drone off of this site. Some of you may have seen some of the drone footage I put on here. Yeah, this car too, by the way, was a total pleasure to drive. This car can corner, right? It may not be the fastest in the straight of all the turns, but it is definitely fastest in the corners. It handled amazingly. One of our other stories, if you missed it, I had a bubble on one of my tires, like a bump, a bulge, and that was really bad. And we actually repaired it in Oregon. And Donna and I have said repeatedly, it's so good we repaired that because we were on roads with potholes and back roads. And if that tire would have blown out, like in a high-speed turn or in the middle of the forest nowhere with no cell signal, like that would have been it.
If you let me share, I can show him the tree.
Okay, here we go. Donna has a picture of the tree.
I do.
It's this one is automatic, Nicole. I preferred a manual. I just couldn't get it with this one. It only had 17,000. But now Donna can drive it because Donna does not yet know how to drive a stick. We'll work on that. Oh yeah, there's.
I know technically how. I just haven't mastered it. But so this guy is the driver. So he and his wife is here. She had gotten out and going, "No, you can't make it. Stop."
This tree is low too. Look how low it is. Like actually, I don't even think he would have gone height wise. He almost didn't make it.
No,
One of
he-
those little boxes like you check your carry-on luggage in. Like
I know they should have had that. Anyway,
All right, let's see. We're gonna continue on. Thank you, Donna.
I would have encouraged him to go for it.
oh, and I also had the video of the going through the tree. But that's
Yeah. So the next day we drove to a place called Inverness. Was it Point Reyes? Point Reyes. We just ended up here. We went past Bodega Bay, and then Point Reyes is this gigantic peninsula, right? So it's actually like the coast comes here, and then you can actually drive the other side of it, and there's a lighthouse at the end of it. And we stayed at a guy's Airbnb. He had actually a perfect, I think it was a Cadillac. He found a Cadillac with less than 20,000 miles that was in front of his house. And so we stayed at his Airbnb. We came out here, and of course we went to this beautiful lighthouse, and it was completely fogged out. But I don't know if Donna has the other video. You can cue that up, Donna. But here's what happened is I came here, and it says there are 313 steps to go down to go see the lighthouse. And Donna goes, I pass. so I went
you had to
down.
come back up 313 steps.
So I went down to the lighthouse, and I'll show you what it looks like, and then Donna will show you what she said, what she saw instead as she cruised back to the car. So here's my 313 steps. Wait, we're not done yet. There you go, 313 steps, and now I'm here at the lighthouse. Donna, let me know if you have the other video ready or not.
It's on my phone, so I can.
Yeah, going down wouldn't be so bad. It's going up. Oh, heck no.
So
So basically, I'm walking back, and on the way down, we had seen a few deer. So I'm walking back up this little hill to get to the parking lot, and there's this deer on the side of the road just munching away. And I take pictures, and I'm like walking by the deer, and so I am not that far away from him. And I start just to take a video, and the deer kind of looks at me and then looks down the road, and I follow where the deer is going, and there's this little baby deer coming up to eat with mom. So
Bye,
that was-
David. Thank you so much.
Bye, Dave.
Bye, Joy.
So
Okay,
that was cool.
So part of this trip, one of the highlights too, was like visiting people, but none of this was planned. Let me remember. So I would sometimes text or message people and going, "Hey, you around? What are you doing tomorrow? What are you doing today?" And one of them, Victoria Peterson, who has been at my conference, came back and lives in Santa Rosa. So we actually needed to backtrack a little bit, but she goes, "Yeah, stop by." And it turns out she had some stuff to show us. So she wasn't available, though. She had some calls that were planned. So we went to a winery, and it was full of this art all over the place. Apparently, there are a bunch of people who take Burning Man art, and then after Burning Man, need a place to put it, and they put it on this winery's campus. So this is the tasting room, what it looks like from the tasting room. And here are some of the other pieces of art. Hopefully, Nicole, you might appreciate some of these. This temple was actually used at a Burning Man. Actually, all of them, I think, were actually used in the desert, in Black Rock Desert, and then people came back.
I like the leaf thing.
What's that?
I like the one that's supposed to be, is it supposed to be a heart or a leaf?
It's like a heart leaf. Yeah, it's a leaf
Yeah.
in the shape of the heart. Yeah. Very cool. And you could technically you can lay in it, right? Like, or you could climb on it, I think. So anyways, we went to Victoria's place, and Victoria has actually bought a farm. And I finally got to see her virtual office, and her virtual office is actually like a tiny house. It's like, what, 120 square feet?
It's a she shed, you know.
Off of the house. It was really impressive. Like, I've known Victoria for a long time, and so, but she toured us all around, right? We saw this incredible sunset. And part of her yard right now, I have a video of it. I don't have it here with me. Is that they rent the part of the field to sheep, and the sheep go and use that as their pasture. All right, then we cruised along and went to my sister's house, and then the day after we went to my sister's house, we used Cupertino as a base for a couple days. And actually, it turns out too, like we didn't go for 4th of July. Oh, I missed all the 4th of July stuff. We visited Donna's old neighborhood on 4th of July. And the reason why we didn't go to Airbnbs, they were like 3 and 4 times the normal price on 4th of July.
Of course.
So staying at friends' houses is like, oh, that's the way things. So we stayed at the weekend here at my sister's house, and saved all the money from that, and more important things like going to Santa Cruz. So we went to Santa Cruz, which, by the way, like everything on the coast here was like 99% unmasked, and the major cities like Cupertino was maybe 50 or 60% masked. But we were masked all the way until this photo, and then we got a chance to walk along the beach. I love the next day here too. Is that this was one of the best parts of the trip. Is that no matter what we felt like every day, we could do it. I have a very good friend, and she gave she posted on social media this big yellow pad of like this whole trip, and then I was surprised to see like 3 days into their trip, she goes, "We abandoned our trip." Right? It was like too much, and like it wasn't working. I think they had a pet with them, and like it just didn't work. And so like this day, we didn't want to do anything. We said we're gonna stay home. We went to 85C, you know, the bakery. It's a Taiwanese bakery, and all we did was do a jigsaw puzzle all day, like literally all day. And so we finished this in about, what, maybe 10 hours, Donna? I don't know. The next person that we saw was Kimberly Weefling. Kimberly Weefling, I met Christopher, I think, at one of Kimberly's programs. She holds one every Friday. And so this is her infamous Saturday and Sunday, she hosts a dinner. And so it's a socially distanced dinner. They actually have some pretty good protocol. Only one person in the house at a time. And it was great. We just got a chance to hang out in their outdoor patio and actually meet for real. On the way from there, we went and the day afterwards, we went to see Rick Altman. So Rick Altman, who is our presentation master, we had breakfast. And then we drove to San Francisco and went to the food terminal, the foodie terminal, and like bought high-end cheese, high-end, prosciutto, crackers, like a whole bunch of other really high-end road snacks, some kind of picnic. We end up staying on the coast, and that leads us to our number one piece of food. Donna, do you want to tell them about this?
Oh my.
Whoops, Donna, we got to unmute you.
Sorry, I had to cough. We stopped at this rest stop to just go to the bathroom, and John's talking to this lady, and she goes, "You need to go to No Brand Burgers. It's a shed, literally. It's a shed, and there's lines, people waiting, tables are filled, and it's 2 PM. And it's like, okay. They grind, or it's fresh beef that it's ground the day before. They hand press it. It's farm fresh tomatoes. Everything's fresh locally. It was amazing. and then we also had a shake with it that was homemade ice cream. It just,
It was, yeah, and it turned out
It
this
was
was the
good.
best meal. We did go to some places that cost some money and some that didn't, and to us, this turned out to be like the best piece of food on this trip, and it was amazing.
it was
certainly-
amazing.
All right, so then this is more kind of the route that we were taking. We went down here, went to Santa Cruz, came back around to Pleasanton. This was the side trip over here, trying to get to Victoria's places, and then we started heading back up north. Donna got a chance to drive here, and then probably one of the most serendipitous things is that we ended up here. That's right. This is a Hobbit Hall.
I got to drive to the Hobbit Hole.
Well, Donna, they fit right in.
Are you calling me short?
Uh-huh.
She at least did not hit her head through the door.
I did not hit my head.
It was
John, is that what you're saying?
I think I only scraped the bottom of the car twice on getting the road down. Was Christopher worse than yours? It was narrow, and there were these little slivers that you had to pull over if you had another car coming. Thank goodness we met no other car on this almost 5-mile road.
This is a real Hobbit Hole. We found it on Airbnb. We looked at it a couple times. And
I was going to say, did you intentionally go there, or was it just a find?
It was just a find. Everything on this trip is a find, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole.
We didn't intentionally do anything.
Yeah, we didn't intentionally do anything. Like, we were just like, and then we almost thought about leaving this place, on day one, because like at 5 o'clock when the sun set. Well, one, it was hot, and then two, like at 5 o'clock or 6, whenever the sun started to set, all the mosquitoes came out. I mean, like, all of them. And I'm like, and I love the part too. This is a great conversation that I had with the owner, and I'm like, do you might happen to have like any, mosquito spray or anything like that? And he gave this great line. He goes, sometimes misery is part of the experience.
Yeah. It's like you got to do the pain in order to have the pleasure of all of this.
See, I would have left.
There
'Cause I
was
would've
no
been-
electricity here. Let's
I would've
do the
been-
other thing.
I
No
would've been
electricity.
Bitten alive.
Yeah, we thought about it. But part about this was like sticking it through, and so we did stick it through. And so things like this is like, you go back to this. I mean, we played cards.
We're eating cold pizza for dinner.
Yeah. And there were some great parts. I think I finished 3 jigsaw puzzle and 3 books on this trip, and I haven't been able to finish a book in the last 2 years. It's crazy. And then you get really surprised by this is not the favorite thing. Here's what happened. Is like one of Donna's favorite moments.
And you didn't bring it home?
Oh, it was tough.
Oh, it was tough. They would have given me all of them.
So their dog had 6 puppies, and the 6 puppies were here. They would put it here. This is like the common area. And see that black pen here? That's where the little puppies were.
And again, you didn't bring one home?
Oh my gosh. Like I said, it was so close. Of course, we're in a car that only holds 9 cubic feet, not including a puppy.
And this is in California.
Which means we'd have
This isn't
6 more days.
close.
So, yeah. So
Could have shipped it home to me. I was watching your place. Come on now.
shipapuppy.com. Okay, yeah, so they had 6 puppies, and it was really cool. There's a family that came back to revisit them, and they had kids, and the 2 kids highlight of the whole trip was those 6 puppies. They like
Oh, I'm
slept with
sure.
them, they played with them. All right, they were trying to get one to go home. The story behind this is a guy bought 160 acres in the redwoods,
Holy,
and he started with a chainsaw and a tent.
what?
And literally, they had to build a metal bridge that we drove over. This thing is pretty precarious, Donna can tell you.
Yeah.
And now he has 18 buildings and running water from their own well. The solar panels actually power 3 fridges. They turn their goat milk into cheese when they're not feeding the goat milk to the puppies. It's like they're totally self-sustaining, I think, except for the propane. They got to go into town and get propane. And
I
so,
assume they live on the acreage.
Mhm.
what's that?
Yes,
Okay.
they live on the acreage,
Yeah.
and they have all these fruit trees and different. Bye, Christopher. Good to see you.
Bye, Christopher. Thanks for dropping.
And this solarium was pretty amazing, and we discovered this on the last day, and it was the last building that the guy has created, and he said this is it because it was so big, and they have all of these starter plants and things going that you realize that this is how they get through the winter, and
I'm
grow their
glad I wasn't
vegetables.
watering them. I'm only watering yours.
I know you did a great job.
Oh my goodness.
This thing was built on the side of a mountain. So they carved and flattened a section off the side of the mountain. The building curves with the mountain.
Oh no,
Right.
thank you.
And then it's all glass right on the top and the outside. And so
Yeah, and you can
Do
actually
you
rent.
see out over the mountain, or do you have to? Is it straight down?
no, there's a bit of a ledge before it drops off.
Yeah, no thanks. You can have it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that is like there's after a certain point in the driveway, you have to have a 4-wheel drive car. And of
I
course,
don't do heights. That would not work.
oh, the treehouse. Yeah, that's a not for you.
No.
All right, well, we finally left this place, and when we left this place, we drove up something called the Lost Coast, and we actually stayed in what looked like a really expensive place, and we are like, let's just go there, right? And it's way off the beaten path.
Did you
Uh,
get
but-
lost?
Yes.
It was spectacular, and talking about our other spectacular Airbnb, this was
In
Nicholson. Jeez, I now can't
oh
remember.
gosh, yeah. Neskowin.
Niskausen.
Wisconsin.
So yeah, so we had that.
Yeah.
We got some very cool rest stops. So here at one of the rest stops, we got to see this and also the Great Arch.
Queen Anne's lace.
Queen Anne's lace, yes.
Yeah, we got to see this Great Arch at one of the end of the paths. Then we cruised through Seaside, Oregon. So this is Seaside, Oregon, right? And almost at the end here, too.
Had to stop to get candy.
Oh yeah, we got saltwater taffy.
Mm.
And yeah, oh Niskausen. Now here's you can see that here, Astoria. And we took
I
the
won't
last
tell
part of the-
Pat.
even took the last part here and went through Kingston and took a ferry ride home. And so this concludes at least the highlights of our trip, of Donna and I trip. You know, one of the things that again I think we really learned was like being okay with not knowing what the plan was, and like listening to people and actually being able to follow through and going, we actually did that. We did, you know, something that you referred to us was some of the highlights to that. With that, any final comments on road trips, or did this trip inspire you for a future road trip? Do you have a road trip that you want to do, Joe? You
Yeah,
got-
you're taking me with you next time.
I know. I think we all need to go. I love the fact that it was the unplanned planners unplanned vacation. I live my life, especially eating with friends. I love doing kind of what I call progressive. I mean, they're called progressive dinners, but I employ them in my like hanging out in a new city, where you're just like, let's start walking, and if something attracts us, we'll have a taste and we'll keep on going. So I love the like adventure of it all. Next summer, very likely, I might be in Colombia, South America. My parents are Colombian. My brother and sister-in-law and our family are thinking about going, and so they literally just called like a couple days ago. And so that might be an adventure, and I'm hoping to find ways to learn how to cook, and also, find my ways into all of those different worlds. The tree made me think of one of the caves, or there's multiple caves, but in Spain there's one. I'm not sure if we went under a tree, but I feel like maybe we went through a cave to get to the other side in one of our adventures, and so that big tree made me think of. Welcome home. I'm glad you guys are safe.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? Nicole, any commentary?
I'm just thinking like saltwater taffy and what y'all did is like home kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, it's like a lot of the Ozark stuff. So I don't know if you've ever been to the Ozarks, but look it up.
I have not been to the Ozarks, although I'm still trying to get my way through season 2 of.
No. Don't even, I don't even know that show, but that show has nothing to do with the Ozarks.
I don't know why I have not got addicted to that. Oh, Jen Poyer gave us a click too for the ultimate road trip. Jen, do you have any other comments, or do you have any internet over there?
I have internet, but you guys freeze less when I turn my camera off, so that's what I'm doing. I think it's two comments. One, I think being on the road and being with people and being in cars and just experiencing stuff. Even like you talked about the difference between having to get into those first 3 days of disconnecting and the Hobbit hole being totally disconnected. It's something that it's kind of sad, and then that transition back into reality of all the things start to ping at you again shows how much time I think you need space away from all of the stuff sometimes.
Yeah, John was pretty excited when I said I had a deck of cards.
Play pitch, everybody. Let's play pitch. We need 4 people for that.
Donna has never played Crazy Eights.
No, I have, but it's just been so
Been a
long.
while.
I didn't remember the rules of it.
Gin Rummy.
Well, I have to say it's been a long time for me. I wouldn't remember the
Yeah,
rules.
we
either.
played gin rummy, and Crazy Eights.
Donna, where do we want to go for our next vacation? What do you have any other ideas now for future vacations?
Yeah, you're not leaving Sarah home to water plants though.
Okay.
we gotta get yard work to do it, right?
Yeah, good luck with that one.
It's so embarrassing to admit. So I've always seen Cupertino that shows up in like everything. It seems to be, when you're setting the time wise. I thought they made it up. I didn't know where it was. So when you were like, we went to Cupertino, I just had it didn't matter because I wasn't going there. So until this moment when you're like, oh, we went through there, I'm like, oh, it's a place in the United States?
It's where Apple is, Joe. The Apple headquarters, which is now a big circle building. It looks like the start button. You can actually go tour it too. Yeah, so that's in Cupertino.
I love all the little trivia stuff, and somehow that one never made it onto. It didn't make me curious, and I didn't think. And for me, Apple lives in the cloud. Look that up. Yeah, it was one of those like, okay.
Donna, any ideas where we'll go for our future vacations?
Well, we talked about doing something where we go somewhere that's like a hub, and then we do outskirts from there.
And my other one is actually take a vacation where we actually go to one place and stay there for 2 weeks and then do nothing. Like, I've been to like an all-inclusive with my kids in Mexico. All right. And you just stay like in that environment. And like the whole thing is to try and do as little as possible. So that's my next vacation. All right. Hey, thank you everybody for joining here. Hang out here.
Donna.
I'm going to end this live stream here. Give me 1 second. And thank you so much for that. Love road trips. Hopefully this has spurred some memories and some other things for you. Hey, we'll see you next time.
always start people and keep on people. Show you got heart.